Carnival's done it again. They've oversold the cruise, and somebody actually died during turbulence on a flight. True story. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Adventures Calling Us. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And look, before we even jump into the videos, I need you to go and subscribe to the channel. You just got to. You want to follow us. You want to jump on it. You want to jump on this train. I know you do. Jump on it. Go follow us on Instagram, Adventures Calling Us. Follow us here. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's free. Turn the notification bells on. We would greatly appreciate it. And that's my pitch. So, jumping into the stories. So, Royal Caribbean has oversold their March 12th sailing for the Wonder of the Seas. Now, this is a big deal because this is a spring break cruise, and most families have probably planned this in advance. And so, it's the second time they've done this. They did this back in December as well, and it's really not a good look. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a trend for Royal, where every few months they're overbooking cruises. Now, they are saying this is due to a glitch in the system, right? The typical spiel about kind of what happened. But it doesn't lessen the burden on those families or those travelers that are going down to Florida to jump on this March 12th cruise. Now, Royal Caribbean is going to give you three options if you are on this cruise. First option really is going to be changing your itinerary to the Explorer of the Seas. Now, the March 12th cruise from the Wonder of the Seas, that's an Eastern Caribbean sailing going to St. Kitts, St. Thomas, and Royal Caribbean's private island of Coco Cay. However, if you do switch your itinerary to the Explorer of the Seas, which also leaves on March 12th, that is a Western Caribbean itinerary. So you definitely will not be getting the same experience. You'll be going to Jamaica, St. Thomas, and Royal Caribbean's private island of Coco Cay. So the Wonder of the Seas is a 7-night sailing, and the Explorer of the Seas is only a 6-night. It is leaving out of Port Miami, which is great. So for any guest that wants to take their Wonder of the Seas cruise and move it to the Explorer of the Seas, Royal Caribbean is going to give you a 100% refund on that Wonder of the Seas fare. They're also going to give you a $300 onboard credit. Now, you will have to pay the taxes, fees, and surcharges on that. The second option that Royal Caribbean is going to give people, if you don't want to switch to the Explorer of the Seas, you can change your sailing date. You can either choose to sail on July 30th, or you can choose to sail on August 13th. Now, July 30th is before school starts. That is in the summer. However, people's work schedules and things like that may not align. This option is really only for those that have flexibility in their scheduling to be able to rebook different dates. The August 13th sailing is a little bit different in the sense of that's typically after school starts, and so most parents probably won't be able to bring their families on that trip, and so that might not be an option for a lot of people that are on this itinerary, this cruise. I'm going to go ahead and take a wild stab and say that most of the people that are on this March 12th sailing pre-plan this because this is when their spring break is, and they've probably got mostly families and kids, and so most of the time this isn't going to coincide with the dates that they're going to give you to replace your original date with. In addition to changing your sail date, this is going to give you a different itinerary. You're going to go to St. Martin, St. Thomas, and Coco Cay. So it is in Eastern Caribbean, but you are going to have a couple of different ports than you originally would have if you do decide to change your date to one of those dates, the July 30th or the August 13th. Now, the third option that you're going to obviously have is a 100% refund. Now, if you've got flexibility in your dates and you've got flexibility in when you're going to go and all of those different types of things, this may be a great option for you because they're going to give you a 100% refund on your cruise fare. They're also going to give you a 100% future cruise credit to use on a future date, and they're going to cover the incidental charges that you may have had on your way to the port, such as hotel, airfare, and all of those different items. So if you've got flexibility and don't necessarily need to take that March 12th trip, this might be a great option for you because you'll not only get your refund, but you're also going to get that future cruise credit. And so that means that if you can apply that original fare to another cruise and then take that additional future cruise credit and put it towards something else, you may be able to get a 2-for-1 deal if you are flexible in your dates. So that's a great option if you have the flexibility to do so. However, I'm going to go ahead and guess that most of the people that, again, pre-booked this cruise for March 12th probably did so with spring break in mind. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of these families, we have kids, and so a lot of these families pre-book it, and they may pay a year in advance, right? They may book it a year in advance. And so it's really disappointing when things like this happen, and we see this happen with airline flights all the time, right? You get to the gate, and they start calling for people to give up their seats because the airlines decided they wanted to overbook the flight. It's typically because they want to make sure they have a full flight, but they end up inconveniencing people in the meantime, right? And so they start offering incentives for people to cancel. So I really wish the cruise ships wouldn't do this. I'm not sure. They're saying it is a glitch. I'm not sure. It happened again in December of last year as well, so I'm not sure how much of a glitch this really is. Or if it was Royal trying to really just make sure they had a full booking and they ended up selling more cabins than they really had room for. So not really sure. I know we'd be a little peeved if this was us because we typically pre-plan these things. And so for us, I don't know what option we would actually choose. If this has ever happened to you, let us know. I would love to know in the comments if this has really ever happened to you, because it's never really, you know, we've been on flights before where they've asked, not us specifically, but for volunteers. But I would love to know what you would do if this was you in this situation, because you know, we'd be traveling across country to get to the Port of Miami. So for us, I don't know if 100% refund and all that would be even a possibility. Definitely sailing on a different date wouldn't be. So I would love to know what your options would be, if what option you would choose if it was given to you. But Royal should probably get their act together and not, you know, make this a habit. Hopefully this is a one-off and they actually did just have computer system issues, because we've got a few cruises, as you can see on the board behind me, that are planned, and we definitely don't want that happening to any of the cruises that we have planned, especially that one right there on the bottom, the Icon of the Seas. Let's hope that isn't overbooked and oversold. Alright, so this next story is actually quite sad, and I don't quite have all the details to it. All I know is there was a corporate jet flying over New England a few days ago, and they hit a patch of turbulence, and in that there were some people hurt, and one of the people on board actually lost their lives due to the turbulence. Now again, I don't have all the details to it, so I'm not really sure. But really, that's, I think, everybody's worst nightmare, right? When you're getting on an airplane. You want a smooth takeoff, you want a smooth landing. Everything in between is kind of like you just hope it goes well, right? But I think everybody kind of braces for certain things like that, and you just hope that when you get on an airplane, you're trusting the pilots and you're trusting, you know, the weather and everything else that goes into it, that you're going to get to your destination safely. So, again, not exactly sure what happened with this airplane. Don't know the extent of the damage to the airplane either. We know from the story that I read, the NTSB is looking into this and trying to figure out kind of exactly what happened and what went wrong. Certainly it doesn't seem like anybody was wearing a seatbelt at the time. Maybe it was a patch of turbulence that nobody expected, or whatever the case may be. So hopefully they figure out kind of what happened, and we can kind of make sure we avoid these kind of things in the future. One of the things I've been seeing in the news lately as well is kind of get you a little, you know, your ears perked up a little bit, right? Is all of these issues at the airports and the runways, and pilots having near misses as they're going on the runways. And I think it's happened a few times where these pilots have just had near misses on the runways, even where they're just going, you know, driving their planes down the runway, and all of a sudden they almost hit another plane. So, you know, I'm not sure what's going on with air traffic control, not sure what's going on with the pilots or whatever, but seems to be happening more frequent than not lately. And I would really like for them to get this under control, because we have a couple of flights coming up, and we definitely don't want any incidents like that, I can tell you that. So hopefully these airlines can get their act together as well. I know, you know, everybody just wants to get to the airport. It's already a stressful time to get through the airport, get through the checkpoints, get to your plane on time, right? And everybody just wants to get on the plane and get to their destination safe. And so hopefully, you know, hopefully if you're traveling soon, hopefully you have safe travels. But I know for those of you that travel quite a bit, I know, you know, that might be a worst case scenario, or a worst fear that something goes wrong when you're 30,000 feet up in the air. Certainly it's one of mine. I never want that to happen. But of course, that's all in God's hands, right? He knows when it's our time. Okay, so it's Monday, so you know what that means, folks. It is Motivation Monday, baby. And so I was actually watching, I was on Instagram, and I was watching video, and it was actually a really good point. There was a gentleman who was, asking, what the most valuable thing to you is, and if that most valuable thing to you is money. And a lot of people were like, well, if you can, if I could have $1 million, my life would change. And so he asked one simple question, and that question was, if I gave you $1 million right now, heck, if I gave you $10 million right now, would you take it if I said your life ended tomorrow? And the answer is no, of course, right? So then you value time over money, right? And so it really made me think about that, and it's a really poignant point of, we think money can solve all problems, we think money can solve everything. While money can help, it certainly should not be the end-all be-all. Because if I said to you, if I gave you $1 million right now, would you cut off your entire family and all of your friends? And if the answer is no, then that means you value relationships over money. So while we think money can kind of take us to new heights and new places, which it can, it doesn't replace those things that are actually most valuable in your life, right? So think about that when you're chasing the money, chasing the dreams. You should go and chase all those things, but don't forget about all the important stuff that really is in your life as well. So hope you're having a great day. Hope you have a great day tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and we love you. We want you to subscribe, and we just love every one of you. I think we're up to 10 subscribers now. We're awesome. You're awesome. We rock. You rock. I appreciate the support. 10 doesn't seem like a big number to you, and it may not be, but to us it's huge. That just means like 10 of you support us, and we certainly appreciate that, and we want that to grow. Slowly but surely we'll hopefully get that number up, and we want you guys to be a part of that journey. So we got some pretty cool trips coming up. We want you to be a part of that too. So hope you have a great day tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again in the next video. Peace.